gosh. Just watching it again now, there's a line before she goes into the theater, what shall I do? Keep your heart open. I mean, that felt like the watchword for the whole production. Keep your heart open. Right?
Yes. Oh.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, how do you set up your actors, and how do you as an actor set yourself up to keep your heart open for this kind of work?
I love doing like this part of the process of bringing the film into the world. So then we start having the pressure to talk in front of people about what the film, like the process that we don't really think. Sometimes it comes instinctually. But recently I realized the best way to sum it up is that we gathered around the mother. There's something about gathering around the mother as a phrase. It's like when you create an ecosystem, mother being Mother Earth, the mother energy, the kind of unconditional love, unconditional witness, seeing you, and to ask our cast and crew from the very beginning to gather around the mother, to know that everyone's emotions and feelings, what they're going through in their lives, whether you are a PA or you are an actor, is welcomed in the space, right? Is welcomed into the creative process and is encouraged. So at the very beginning, we feel that kind of safety in the cast and crew. So the way that it started to grow, the ecosystem, is now it's a kind of safety that's very in the body. It's hard to explain. In some of the most difficult scenes, you show up on set, everyone seems to be exactly on the same page. The temperature in the room, how quiet and how loud people speak, is almost always there to energetically align with what we're doing on that day.
So Jessie, how did she do that?
Energetically align?
Yeah. We could all learn something from this.
Well, she brought together a group of artists who wanted to go on a journey. And I think Chloe, as a leader and as a director, is she's like a conductor who's trying to tune herself to listen to everybody. And I guess as a community in this village, she's also kind of chaotic, like sometimes.
Oh, that's not a bad thing, right?
She's my container half of the time.
But chaos is kind of interesting in creating something and making something. And what Chloe would do, there was such everybody that was there was there in such a pure way to create humanity. And I think we all felt with this story that our job was to become more human in the task of making this story live and have the experience that we wanted to have. And her chaotic side was disappearing and letting the imagination of every single person in that room run, So the space in the world became your living, beating heart. And then she'd come in and, like some Jedi leader, was like, one shot, one take, one setup, go. And we just go.
I feel like I need to put my foot out.
The film begins in nature. I mean, in an extraordinary place, location. Could you talk a little bit about finding that place? And I mean, literally physically, but also, composing in that. I mean, composing as a director and a writer and as an actor for that particular landscape.
Yeah, Maggie O'Farrell, who wrote the book, the beautiful book, has somehow described a landscape that is both external and internal. It's so vividly on the page. So it's a daunting task to try to translate that onto screen.
Yeah.
So the landscape isn't just pretty to look at. And I think a way in for me was that human beings are nature. Every one of us are made of the exact particles, vibrating particles as a tree, as the planet, a gigantic planet. It's all the same thing. So to trust that the landscape is going to the right landscape is going to reflect exactly what the internal landscape is trying to speak through, both in our actors on a daily basis, but also for me and the RD cinematographer, our production designer. At the first trip, I was with Lukasz and Fiona, who's our DP and cinematographer, and we went into the forest in Wales, and we put Max Richter's music on blast. And then Lukasz just started filming and to try to find what is trying to speak to us. And I will just give you a very quick example how I had just came back from Ukraine and was with someone who was making a documentary in the strip of forest in the front line. And I was getting footage from him while I was in our forest, beautiful spring in Wales. Yeah. And then, so in his footage, I see these dugouts and these mine holes, lime mine holes. And I walk around our forest and I see these black holes as well in the ground. And I suddenly it became so clear, Lukasz is Polish, so he sees this black hole, I understand this, and you realize that death is the great equalizer. And it's also what makes us human. That hole, doesn't matter how you get there, is waiting for us. But it's also in that compost is where life comes from. So suddenly some unthinkable divide you feel in the world is telling you isn't true. We're connected from that elemental level. So that black hole became an important motif in the film. And of course, if you want to look at the backdrop of Hamlet, we design all different backdrops. She's like, yeah, but what is we trying to say? A forest with a hole in the ground. And that's how nature gives us gifts, making a film like this.
Yeah. I think that was one of the things that I really loved about it, was how you brought all those things together. I mean, did you discover, that sort of astounding hole at the beginning, and was that designed ahead of time, that you had that kind of set up for that, the beginning scene that connects with the stage later on? Was that, or did that evolve during the process?
It evolved. So
Yeah.
we knew we knew that it's going to be going from, because Lukasz and I did that. We panned the camera, we went from the heavens, to earth and to the void. That's it. That's life, going cycles like this and again and again. And then we designed backdrops, but it was about right before they're about to build the backdrop, and Fiona and I, and the way we've been working, you really start to feel like it's peeling away. We were talking about how we're deleting lines as well, right? Like just like how essentialist can we be with what we're trying to say?
Yeah. There's an incredible emotional truth in the whole piece. For you as an actor, did you find that it was an emotional thing? Was it a physical thing? How did that develop for you? Because this is an extraordinary performance.
Well, I don't think it's ever either or.
No, I'm sure it isn't.
For me anyway. And the more I work, the more I want to be unconscious and just be in something, be in the the gift of being an actor is you get to see the world in a different way, but you also get to know the world in a way that you didn't understand before. And with this woman, it was you know, she was somebody who was so, her heart was this big open wound, and she had this ferocious tenderness and a singular kind of just energy that was so in her body, you know, whether it was giving birth to the root of a tree or, you know, wailing at the loss of her son. And none of that was something that I don't work like that anyway. It's never something that I think, oh yeah, I'll do that there and I'll do that there and that'll be good there. I always want to be in a certain state of unknown so that I can just live it. And I guess the way that Chloe works and the way that I work and how we collaborated together was really how present can I be to just be in this woman and live with her. And when you have incredible people like Paul and Jacoby and Emily Watson and all the incredible cast and crew around you to contain that space for you and just look into their faces, it's a joy. Like, it's not hard.
It sounds like surrender. I mean, you know, you're in a place of great safety and then you can just surrender.
Yeah. I mean, it's very scary it's very scary. It's always vulnerable to create anything and to put films out and to surrender and be, you know. A lot of the time it's much easier to hide behind a mask and create kind of reasons for yourself. But I think I get a thrill, and I always feel like I grow from being brave to just let something be seen, you know, and that comes where 50% of you have to meet 50% of this stranger who becomes part of your life.
I love what Maggie O'Farrell did in centering this story in Agnes, about whom we know very, very little in actual, you know, in terms of factual stuff. But actually what ends up being revealed is an emotional truth. And that seemed like, sorry, do you want to say?
I'll just talk about it.
So just maybe for each of you, just sort of, I mean, was there something that Chloe did with you that was sort of key in opening you up to this character? And back to you, was there something that you explored and discovered with Jessie that gave you more of an insight into the character as well? Any specific moments, for instance?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I discovered in Agnes and with Chloe, and something that I was looking for in my work and in the work that I wanted to do and the stories that I was looking to tell, you know, sometimes strong women are misjudged as being hard and cold, and there's defensiveness, and that is true. And I know those women, I've played those women, but I know what's really at the bottom of that well is tenderness, which is a ferocious, fierce, brave place to live. And Agnes had that in like bucket loads. And I came into rehearsals with a broken heart, and I realized that this was exactly the place that I had to enter into working on this film with, and to actually just quell that down to tenderness, and that become the river at which this fiercely strong woman of the woods moved from and through. And Chloe was the director who I think saw that in me and invited me to be brave enough to like bring that tenderness to the foreground.
I really like, that's great. I really, I like that answer.
I like it.
I think the same moment, I think Jessie was also working on another film. She's physically, emotionally, everything so tenderized by just life, you know, when she showed up to rehearsal. And so was I. For the last 4 years, it's been difficult. And so I think I always say, like, stories choose you as much as you choose them. And if you trust, the right thing will come to you. It won't be an easy thing, but that's a fire you have to walk through. I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. And I think from that moment, when Jessie was saying earlier about being seen, I think many of us in this industry, I would say many of us in the world, maybe in this room, we were not seen when we were a young person. You know, we were not seen. Our emotions were not mirrored, and so we very quickly perform and we try to put a mask on in order to be safe and to be loved. And so actually allow yourself just be there in all your messy, heartbroken, shameful, disappointed, you know, in every way, right? Yearning, you know, to be then, come see me. Like, I'm done. I've tried so hard to hide. I'm not speaking for myself. I think for you as well in some ways. Like for me, 43 years, I'm done hiding. See me, please. You know, at least that little girl inside, I said, please see me. And thank you. and knowing Jessie was gonna be willing to do that, it was for me, that's just a gift. That's it. Without that openness from Jessie, we don't have a film. So it was definitely during rehearsal. Yeah. And she had bleached blonde eyebrows from her previous film. So.
As a writer, you worked with Maggie O'Farrell. You know, just coming off of thinking about, you know, the characters, one of the things that's really striking is these two characters who fall in love, this very elemental woman and this kind of brainy guy, and they seem like archetypes, you know, but they're both a part of the same, you know, they're just a part of the same thing. It's like Shiva and Shakti, or, you know, in many cultures, you know, there is this complementary energy. As a writer, was that something that, you know, what did you discover about these characters in writing it? And what were Maggie's insights on that kind of thing?
She's speaking our language. When you mentioned that, you know, I'm sure you read Carl Jung's, you know, the inner civil war, yeah. Right? Really, like Jung has always said, it is the moment we could find the inner marriage is where we can find the outer peace union. And I think that and I come from China, I come from the yin and yang. There's a different language in every culture, masculine, feminine. And it's that kind of to be or not to be, is that kind of polarizing force that created the universe. Because when the tension is that strong, that's when the Big Bang happens. And in physics, when you pull two opposing forces that tight, the third, a new movement, an equilibrium is created. So but it's extremely, extremely uncomfortable. And I think I was trying to figure that out inside of me. And I feel like Paul, through dream work, I can tell he was working through that. Jessie's working through that. And when I read the book, it felt the obvious container.
Yeah.
The most archetypal. You have a woman from the woods. You have William Shakespeare, who's written, you know, the storyteller of our time. And we knew it's going to be a two-hander between these two people. And so I think Maggie was definitely down, and she speaks this hand language as well. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. So, as you say, you're from China. You're Irish.
Yeah.
You know, you went to RADA.
Very.
Yeah. What is your relationship with William Shakespeare? Each of you.
Well,
The writer.
I was intimidated of him, at school. I was like, what? It's just work, it was too much. I couldn't grasp it at school. And when I thought about being in, like, doing theatre, I thought I'd do musical theatre because I had all this feeling and I felt like at least music can contain it all. And then I moved to London and a producer asked if I wanted to go and do a 4-week Shakespeare course at RADA. And it was the first time I'd actually done Shakespeare. And it blew my mind. I could not believe how much one word could contain everything that was inside. And it changed what I realized of myself. I was like, oh no, I want to act. Like I want to just know and move through words. And if these are the words that are there, then amazing. And I just want to do Shakespeare. And so later I went back to RADA, but after I finished, and my first job was at the Globe Theatre.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you playing?
Miranda in The Tempest.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then most of my early career was doing Shakespeare with Judi Dench and Kenneth Branagh and sitting in the wings. Like I did The Winter's Tale, which was the first Shakespeare I'd ever read, like performed. And Judi Dench is like, I'm my absolute idol. And I would like ritual run down every night when she was doing it and sit in the wings. And it was like, if I didn't watch her do it, I would have cursed myself for the whole play. Like she was the reason to be, So he's been a massive part of my life. The house I live in, my home, is 1500s and it's based off Anne Hathaway's house. The garden is so he's there.
You're living it and breathing it.
I did a monologue of Lady Macbeth at I Lay High. Unsex me, but I didn't speak English very well.
Unsex me. That's all she remembers.
That's all I remember. Unsex me, but I didn't speak English very well at the time, so I listened to the CDs of the speech over and over again, trying to remember. But I really enjoyed the unsex me part.
I think that's actually probably the best line in Shakespeare, other than to be or not to be.
Agreed. In China, he's called Shashibi, and his name sounds so is so upper class. It's so first world, and it's so but it sounds so royal and upper class. So, which is very interesting. Maggie argued that actually Shakespeare is not intellectual. That I did not understand. She said, from her research, he's the son of a glover. So at the time, he would be like a street urchin. And tough, he's...
And brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, just like one of those elemental brilliant guys.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like a raw.
So annoying.
Yeah. I think we're about at time. But...
You're going to end on Unsex Me?
Unsex me? Yeah. Well, why not? Unsex us all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.